Borthwick picks Farrell over Smith, but will that appease the Twickenham crowd? My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. England v Italy, it's on Sunday 12th of February, it's at Twickenham. Kickoff time is 3 p.m. local time. The last six between these two in the Six Nations: 2022, Italy 0, England 33. 2021, England 41, Italy 18. 2020, Italy 5, England 34. 2019, England 57, Italy 14. 2018, Italy 15, England 46. 2017, England 36, Italy 15. So you can see pretty healthy margin there for England in pretty much every one of those games. The England fans, a lot of them probably looking for a similar margin again on Sunday. Italy, if they can produce the performance that they did against France, maybe can make it a lot closer than that. But the bookies don't seem to think so, looking at the odds. England are 10-1 on favourites, Italy 9-1, and the draw is 66-1. So really not giving Italy much of a chance in that one. Let's have a look at the teams then, starting with the home team, England. So fullback, Freddie Stewart, same as against Scotland. Max Malins retains his place as well on the right wing. Whole new centre partnership. We got Henry Slade coming into the team from outside the squad. Ollie Lawrence at inside centre coming up from the bench. On the left wing, Ollie Hassel-Collins keeps his place. Owen Farrell is at 10. He switches from inside centre. Jack Van Poortvliet is retained at 9. Into the forwards then. Front row is unchanged. We have Ellis Genge, Jamie George and Kyle Sinclair there. Pretty decent unit there, and they've been playing together a lot for England too. Into the second row then, unchanged as well. We have Maro Toje and Ollie Chesham. Chesham seemed to be the go-to guy for England in the line-out against Scotland. Back row then, Lewis Ludlam, Jack Willis comes into the squad and into the team, and then Alex Dombrant at 8. On the bench then, we have Jack Walker, Mako Vunipola, Dan Cole, Nick Kasikwe, Ben Earl. Then Alex Mitchell comes into the squad instead of Ben Youngs, who drops completely out of the squad. Marcus Smith dropped from 10 down to the bench. And then we have Henry Arundel, who is an absolute flyer from London Irish. If he gets the ball in any kind of space, just watch that guy go. He's got a lovely step on him, and he has great acceleration and great top speed as well. So should be fun to see him running in some open space. On to Italy then. We have, talking about running in open space, we have Ange Capuozzo at fullback. Right wing then, Eduardo Padovani. He basically swaps places with Bruno. Bruno drops down to the bench. The centres remain unchanged. We got Juan Ignacio Brex and Luca Morisi. Tommaso Menoncello, he retains his place in the left wing, and the halfbacks Tommaso Allen and Stephen Barney also unchanged. Into the pack then, so Danilo Fischetti, he retains his place at loosehead. He had a great game against France. Giacomo Nicotera continues at hooker. Marco Riccioni comes into the team, the Saracens tight head. Nicolo Canone and Federico Ruzza are unchanged in the second row, and the back row as well is unchanged. We've got Sebastian Negri, Michel Lamaro and Lorenzo Canone. So those guys went pretty well against France. Going to have to be at their best though against England as well at Twickenham. Onto the bench then we have Luca Bigi, Federico Zani, Simone Ferrari, he drops from the from tight head down to the bench. And then, who was it? Cesarelli drops completely out of the squad to make room for Riccioni, who came in. Eduardo Ianchisi continues on the bench as well. We have Jake Pelledri from Gloucester. He comes into the squad on the bench. He replaces Pettinelli, who drops out. We have Manuel Zulani and Alessandro Fusco, and then Pierre Bruno, who started on the right wing last week, is the final sub there. So, in terms of caps for the teams, so England in the backs have 202 to Italy's 198, so fairly even between them there. In the forwards, England edge at 276 to 181. In the starting 15, then England have 478 caps to Italy's 379. And on the bench, England have 217 to bring on to Italy's 142. Totals, England 695 to Italy's 521. So even though England have brought in a few young players with not so many caps, still Italy have less caps than them, and it's kind of part of the whole thing with why people think that this Italy team could really improve, is that, you know, a lot of these players are kind of at the start of their test career, and really could, like in the next few years, improve a lot to the point where Italy are a test for anyone, home or away. Now, some talking points. So for England, they're obviously looking to bounce back from that Calcutta Cup loss to Scotland at Twickenham last week. They certainly won't want to have another defeat, and you know they've never lost to Italy before, so it would be a huge shock if they did on Sunday. We have then the whole thing of like Farrell being picked over Smith, who drops to the bench. There's been a lot of debate about, you know, who is the best 10, and the fact that a lot of people saying the two of them can't play together in the same team. And a lot of people probably, you know, if they're honest, were hoping that Smith would be at 10 and Farrell would be dropped, but he's the England captain. It's going to take a lot more than just one loss for him to be excised from the team completely. I've seen people talking about how, you know, Borthwick kind of tied his own hands by picking Farrell as his captain. But like, you know, the guy is still like, he's still top 10. He's shown it like with Saracens. He's shown England before as well. Smith is obviously the newer, younger, more exciting model. I'll give you that. But still, like, Farrell can definitely do a job at 10. And with Smith coming on, with possibly tired legs and a bit more space, maybe he can have a real impact from the bench as well. But I don't think the debate between the two of those is going to be settled today. In the centres, then we have Ollie Lawrence and Henry Slade. Merchant drops completely out of the 23, but it looks certainly a more attacking centre partnership there. Whether they can unlock the Italian defence and get a bit more go forward, and help England to actually convert some of the massive dominance they had against Scotland in terms of territory. We'll see. Ben Curry drops completely out of the squad as well. He seems to have gotten some of the stick for the loss against Scotland. Jack Willis replaces him in the back row. Ben Young's completely left out of the squad. Alex Mitchell coming onto the bench instead of him. So going for youth over experience with that call. Henry Arundel then comes onto the bench to replace Anthony Watson. So again, more youth over experience there. Arundel scored I think it was last season, right? He scored a wonder try for London Irish, was just kind of a worldie that he got there. So very excited prospect, and I really want to see what he can do if he gets the ball in hand with a bit of space. And sometimes that guy doesn't even need that much space. Like he really has a really nice step and good balance to his running as well. England, though, I talked about how they dominated territory and possession. They had 57% possession against Scotland, which was the most of any of the teams in the first round. And again, the most territory of any team at a massive 71%. But they couldn't make it count. Now, maybe against Italy, they might be able to convert it. But is that really going to tell you whether they're an improving team or not? I'm not so sure. But I would expect if they did get those numbers again on Sunday, that they probably will convert more chances than they did against Scotland. Their scrum went well against Scotland as well. It was 100%, but it is from a low sample count. I think it was only 2 scrums that they had in that game. The line-out, though, does look a little vulnerable against Scotland. They were down at 87.5%, so there's a chance for potentially, at least for Italy to get up there, maybe disrupt it and nick the odd ball there as well. England also had the fewest clean breaks, 2. So in that first round of games, they'll definitely be looking to rectify that with not only with that new centre pairing, but with some of the other players that they picked on the bench, like Arundel as well. They did have the second fewest turnovers conceded, so that's pretty good continuity and ball security for them. Italy have shown that they can, on turnovers, with the likes of Capozzo and Brex in the back line, they can, make a turnover into a try, or at least into a decent break. England had the highest meters run of any team in the first round as well, 559. Marcus Smith, he was actually the highest of their players at 112, but he's on the bench. And Capozzo for Italy actually topped the stats overall for individual performance in run meters there. So going to be interesting to see if he can do that again against England, and whether that's how that's going to factor in to how well Italy do. England also had the most passes of any team with 207, but Italy were just 5 behind them on 202. And Italy had a lot less possession than England. Now, in fairness, they were passing the ball a lot in their own 22, and maybe they need to cut that out a bit. But still, shows that they were looking to pass the ball more than they were kicking. And in terms of kicking, England had the second most kicks, 37, only second to Scotland. So there was a lot of kicking in that game. Ben Curry, he leads the way with most dominant tackles, but he's completely out of the squad. So if England are going to impose themselves, in terms of dominant tackles, they're going to have to look to somebody else to do that. England definitely will expect to win with a pretty healthy margin, no matter what people will be saying, talking Italy up, and I'm one of the people talking Italy up, just so you know. But England still, whatever they say, they'll be looking for a pretty healthy margin in this one. The margin over the last 6, the average margin has been 30 points. But I'm not sure, are they going to be able to replicate that if Italy produce the performance that they did against France? I don't think they will. And I'm not sure if a win, a tight win for England, is going to kind of placate a lot of their fans who really are kind of, a little bit disgruntled. but also really not sure if whatever happens in this game, if the debate over 10 is going to be settled. I think that's going to rage on all the way up to and probably beyond the Rugby World Cup as well. In terms of Italy then, obviously had a great performance against France last week. There was some very risky stuff from them, but they'll be looking to put in a good performance away from home. You know, Benetton in the URC, where a lot of players are drawn from, they've been very strong at home this year, but not so much going away from home. So can this group of players produce, you know, against a team they've never beaten and away from home as well? It really is going to be a true test of their mettle, I feel. We have, in terms of changes then, said Padovani is promoted from the bench to the starting lineup. Bruno drops back to the bench there. Riccioni is in a tight head. Ferrari drops to the bench, and Cesarelli drops completely out of the 23. So maybe maybe they're just looking to improve the scrum a little bit with that one. Jake Pelledri comes in to replace Pettinelli on the bench, and once again they've gone for a 6-2 split on the bench. So fingers crossed, you know, not too many injuries in the backs. Last week, their scrum did creak a little bit against France. They were down at 83.3%, but probably not as much as people may have expected, because that French front row are very scary. Like they're all beasts in there, and you know, maybe 83.3 is actually pretty good, but still, I think this England front row is going to be another big test for them as well. So we're going to see, you know, whether they can maybe improve on that. If they're much lower than that, then we could see, you know, the conceding penalties that will cost them there. They also had like the worst tackle success of any team in the first round, 76.7%, but England weren't much better. They were only down at 80.2. So two teams who missed a lot of tackles. Hopefully that means we're going to see a bit of an open game, and not that they're just going to both tighten up the defenses and keep it low scoring. Nicotera had the most missed tackles of any player with 7, and Lamero was third there with 4 as well. So Italy definitely will want to improve those stats this week. One thing though that they really did well was they conceded the fewest penalties in 7 of any team in the first round. But they're going to have to be just as disciplined on Sunday as well. They can't, they can't have the penalty count going against them if they're going to have any chance in this game. They did run France close last week, but as I said before, they've never beaten England before, so this is a really big test for them. But I think even getting close to England at Twickenham is going to show that this team really has progressed, and winning the game really would shake up the Six Nations. In terms of England then, will they bounce back from the Scotland loss? Who do you think should play 10 for them? And how are Italy going to go? Are they going to be able to back up last week?